For years, they followed suspected criminals well outside of the city that employed them. Thornton's police impact team was known for getting results.
But that team, now disbanded, was also known for something else. 9 News Investigates obtained internal records and recordings that seemed to be at odds with what the city was suggesting, that any rogue activity was rogue activity by impact team members. Here's Chris Vanderveen.
I don't think he came out yet, Tim. I haven't seen him. Just came out and made a left turn.
In unmarked cars, they quietly follow.
At 58, left turn signal on.
Undercover, unrestrained. While Thornton was the city that employed them, officers with the impact team often ventured a long way from home. Like this time, in 2024, the night their so-called rolling surveillance ended, with 2 people dead in Lakewood, 17.2 miles away.
Everybody was aware of what we were doing, and we were not secretive about any of it. We did not try to hide any of that to this day.
Officers like Mark Favor told Internal Affairs after the shooting, if the actions of Thornton's impact team were a secret, they were poorly kept.
We had had several meetings where we had talked about when it was okay, when it was not okay.
You were working on April 30th?
Yes.
Fellow impact team member Timothy Fuss told IAA the city dictated the rules.
There was times where we were told not to leave the city under any circumstances. There was times when we were allowed to go. It was back and forth quite a bit.
3 times in less than a year, the team's rolling surveillance ended violently with gunshots nowhere near Thornton.
Where you shot, man?
Like this time, when the impact team shot and wounded a man in Denver, much to the surprise of officers in Denver.
Oh, this is a nightmare, and the shooting happened here in Denver, so our shoot team has to work there.
9 News Investigates was first to report on the team's tendency to travel in unmarked cars. Using GPS data, we tracked numerous examples, some of which clearly confused people along the way. In Dacono, a man being surveilled thought the team was someone trying to hurt him. Now, according to these internal affairs videos obtained by 9 News Investigates, we can also report this. The rules of engagement also appear to have confused members of the impact team.
On southbound I-25, your GPS vehicle speed shows you at 100 miles per hour. What was the need for the speed that high?
Again, catching back up to the rest of the team in the follow because I was the last vehicle out of the parking lot.
We got any med kits sitting around?
Before they shot and killed 2 in Lakewood in 2024, the team quietly followed the car in question.
Talk about I-25.
At speeds that felt, at least to this questioner, less like surveillance and more like something else.
I was probably going 109 to catch up to where I could get the eye.
Okay. And you don't consider that a pursuit?
No, not at all.
Prosecutors cleared the officers of criminal wrongdoing, but when IA issued this report, it found both officers violated the city's policies regarding pursuits and speed, something these officers believed was not a problem when interviewed.
You guys admit you're violating the pursuit policy, but you're doing what we were told to do by command.
Yes.
Neither officer faced more than written reprimand, and following the internal investigation, the city's police chief restored both to full duty.
You think we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. We will conclude this interview at 10:04.
Thornton police refused to answer questions on camera. They did send us a statement saying, when it comes to pursuits, the impact team's actions were not directed or supported by department leadership. Again, something that will now likely surprise the officers in question.
Nobody ever told me that what we were doing was outside of policy.
Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
As Chris mentioned, we've repeatedly asked Thornton PD for an on-camera interview, starting with when Chris did his first story on this in late 2024. Each time, they have refused. The team was disbanded not long after the shooting in Lakewood. Thornton police said the reason was because car thefts were down.